When I was about 7 or 8, I used to hang out with my buddy Ben. I'm not going to get into the full disclosure of his name, but we'll just call him Ben. I mean, that is his first name after all. And him and I would spend a lot of summers together. He would come down every other weekend because he would stay at his dad's, and his dad lived across the street from me, and they were married. It was like his stepmom and dad's house. So we lived across from one another, so we'd hang out a lot. And during their summer, we would swim like any other kid. And on this particular day, we just had the bright idea to go on this grassy hill. We're in our swim trunks. We had got done swimming. And so we're shirtless, just swim trunks, no shoes, socks, none of that. Probably still dripping wet. And we're just being clowns. And we get this idea to get in this push-up position. And we're like laying in the grass, like I said, the push-up position. And we decide to hike our pants down and moon vehicles. And while we're doing this, we're hopping up and we're pulling our trousers up after we're done mooning, and we're flicking cars off, and we're even waving to cars and doing all types of things. Well, we repeat that, and we get back in the push-up position. And I still remember fresh in my mind, clutching the grass, just feeling the wetness come down my face. And we both, again, our trousers hike down to our ankles, and we moon another vehicle. But when we moon this other vehicle, we failed to realize that it was a cop. So the cop drives past us. I don't realize this at first, but my buddy does. He just kind of looks at me, and he has this face of horror. And he just taps me on the shoulder, and I look to my right, and I see a cop turning around. He's beginning to turn around, and very quickly, within one swooping motion, we both hike our shorts up, and we run across the street right to his dad's. And we go right to the backyard and in through the back door, and we go in, and immediately, we're not trying to cover our tracks entirely. We confess because we're all out of breath. We're like, we look like we've seen a ghost. And he's like, boys, what's going on? As he looks at us with this stern look, his father. What happened? Why are you guys so out of breath? Like, why are you freaking out? What's going on? I think we mooned a cop. Yeah. What? Yeah, I'm sorry. We're sorry. We're stupid. We should have done that. But yeah. I don't think he saw us though. So I think we're good. So we go inside, calm down, just chill. Within minutes, we hear bop, 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 a knock on the door. And immediately, me and Ben, we look at each other and we're like, hello. Do you think it's him? I don't know. I mean, who else could it be? I don't why we're kind of whispering to each other. I don't know. The dad knows. I'm pretty sure his stepmom knew at this point. But we are scared. We're scared. His dad reassures us, calms us down. It's probably nobody, and let me take care of it. So he goes up to the door, and we're kind of following behind. And sure enough, opens the door, opens the other door, and boom, the cop's standing right there, towering over us. I mean, we're right at the door. We're kind of behind his dad to his left, but we're there. We're scanning, we're looking up, and immediately our eyes, I remember just kind of, or at least for me, I remember scanning and looking and just going from his boots all the way up to his face, and immediately my heart is boom, 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 boom. It's just pounding out of my chest. I see his gun on his hip, his badge, just the boots, the uniform, everything. It just meant serious business to me before he even opened his mouth. And I remember he looks at his father and he says, I have reason to believe that your sons here did something. Now, I wasn't his son, but that's what he thought, and I wasn't gonna say nothing or whatever. But I have reason to believe that they just mooned me. In fact, I know that they did. And I'm telling you, it's these two gentlemen right here. And so his dad just kind of steps back and kind of looks at us like he doesn't know. Okay, so what happens now? Well, I can take you to jail. That's what the cop says. Yeah, I can take you to jail for decent exposure. Would you like that? Now he's talking directly to us. Dad kind of steps aside, crosses his arms, and just lets the cop do his thing. You know that, right? That's indecent exposure. I can haul you guys right up to the jail right now. Would you like that? And he says this in such a like cold manner, kind of squinting his eyes. It's sunny out, you know, the sun's kind of in his face. It's kind of illuminating off of him, making him more frightening because he's towering over us and he's just casting this shadow. And I failed to mention that at this point, he says, I want you guys to step out here. So right before he had said that, we stepped outside, and now we're just feeling vulnerable. We're outside. We kind of look back at his dad. His dad's like got his arms crossed, just kind of stern, you know, just kind of waiting to hear what he has to say. And he says, I'll take you down right now. I'm not playing. I don't put up with this, and what you guys did was very offensive. And we just have this rush of anxiety. We both look at each other, Ben and I, and kind of like Wayne's World, if you've ever seen the movie, we just kind of snap back to the cop. We didn't actually say this, but we were kind of like, we're not worthy. We're not worthy. Yes, we did it. We mooned. We're sorry. We confessed, even though he knew, but we just said it anyway. But we were like, please, like, I'm sorry, we don't want to go to jail. Like, we're so sorry about this. We'll never do this again. We're so stupid. We're just kids. We weren't thinking. We just thought it would be a very funny thing to do. And he's like, what? Seeing your white glowing butts? I don't want to see that. No other driver wants to see that. And I understand you guys are young gentlemen. But as he says this, he's walking over to his cop car. And he grabs the back door, you know, for the back seat, and he opens it up. And he's just kind of like, I don't tolerate this. And you know what? Get a good look at the back of this vehicle. And so Ben and I were kind of peering inside of the vehicle, looking around, and we're taking everything in. We're seeing the gated, whatever you call that, that divides the glass or whatever it was at that time that divides from the driver to the back seat. We're looking at the leg space. And as we're looking at this stuff, he's kind of commenting on these sort of things because he knows what we're seeing. He's like, take a good look at that. Get that smell. And it had this like, almost like this rubbery kind of smell. And it smelled of offices and just like places you don't want to be. And he's like, look at that leg space. There's barely none of it. Look at what your future could be. Do you want to take a ride in here? Do you want to go down to the pen? Like he's talking big, like, and we're thinking to ourselves that, oh no, this is it. We're going to go to prison. We're going to be locked up. We're going to be in like prison, like you see on TV. And we're going to be there for a while, or we're never getting out. All because we decided to moon a cop. Now remember, we're kids, so we don't know any better. We don't know how jail or prison works. We don't know the difference, but he's really riling us up. And he meant business. And without another doubt, he says to us, I will take you right now, and I will make you get in that cop car. I will put cuffs on you. I'll make you get in the cop car. I will make an example out of you. Do you want that? And both Ben and I just kind of look at each other, voices trembling, and just, no. We're really sorry. We'll never do that again. And as we say that, he kind of comes around us, which kind of freaks us out and makes us feel vulnerable. But again, me and Ben are just looking at each other, wide-eyed and scared. And he takes one hand, he puts it on Ben's shoulder, takes his other hand, puts it on my shoulder, and he just kind of pats us. And he says, now, boys, I'm not going to lock you up. I'm not going to make you get in the car. But consider this a warning. This is a huge warning. You don't want to follow down a path of doing bad things, from seemingly young mischief things to further things. I don't know what he said at that time, but to bigger things. You don't want it to exceed down that path. And as he says that, his dad kind of chimes in real quick, doesn't cut him off, but he says, "They are good kids, officer, and they don't normally get in trouble. It's the summer, they're out of school." And the cop understood. He kind of just did this as the father's talking, just listening. And I think it kind of went without saying, and from what I understood of the situation, that that cop was a father. So when hearing his father speak, Ben's father speak, it all kind of aligned and clicked with him. And he knew that, and I think he knew that from the start. But hearing his dad just say, they're good kids, they do their homework, it's summertime, but they're great kids, they follow rules, they don't get into trouble. They really keep to themselves and really just enjoy their time and with hanging out with one another. And so the cop just kind of, you heard him out, just not breaking character, had a kind of like this mean poker face, not mean, but just kind of like this stern kind of poker face where he's not letting anybody kind of infiltrate him or make him out to be someone to not take serious. But hearing the father say that, he just kind of was nodding his head, was listening. He walks over to his car, opens the door to get in. Then he kind of turns to us and he says, again, hearing what your father said, I believe him. I believe you guys are great kids. Keep that up, but don't let me ever catch you doing this again. And I hope that you learned a lesson today. And he sort of just tips his hat and gets in his vehicle and he drives off. And we're still not really quite sure what to make of it. We've never dealt with a police officer at that age. I mean, being 8 years old and never been threatened with being thrown in jail or even have an encounter with a police officer at that time, we were quiet, but the message was loud. You do dumb things, you win dumb prizes. And that was kind of the price to pay for us acting out and doing what we did. And something that seemed so trivial at that time left a big impact, because neither me or Ben ever went on to do anything bad. Not saying we're perfect. We did things as typical teenagers, partied, all that kind of stuff, but we didn't find ourselves in the back of cop cars and doing all types of craziness and crazy stuff. So that's my story about the time that my friend and I decided to moon a cop. Wow.